cool. Hey, Mackenzie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about your new movie, Speak No Evil. And I have to say, I kept waiting for. I was very impressed with the first act, with the level of reality of the story and the performances, and I kept waiting for, okay, when is it going to turn into a movie? And then I was even more impressed with the fact that when the suspense kicks in, it's very tangible and very real, and it doesn't feel like a convenient movie where your characters lose their smarts just to generate suspense. Like it's very real and intense. Was that apparent from the script, from the get-go, that that was the level of reality was always going to be protected for you guys in doing the story?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, thanks for saying that. I feel the same way. I mean, it was James Watkins, the director, was at every turn like trying to avoid anything that would turn it into a horror movie, anything that felt like a movie instead of sort of people actually placed in the situation. Um, and he did a great job.
No, most definitely. So I'm always sort of fascinated when you get to those parts where the level of suspense or the intensity of the situation sort of boils over. What do you do to decompress when you stop filming? Because your body doesn't know that what you're going through is not true. So I wonder, it must take a toll when you're like 2 days in, you're like intense and terrified. So I wonder what you do to sort of manage that aspect of it.
That's a good question because your body would hold on to that stress. I don't think I have any. I'm just having a sort of realization in this moment that I should maybe have some practices. But
That you don't take care of yourself when you're
yeah, I'm
filming.
like, well, it'd be amazing to take care of myself. Um,
Mm.
my dog was out with me for a little while, which was really, really lovely. So I'd come home from work and you know, play with her and take her for walks. And
Yeah,
that's a really nice way to decompress because you're like, oh, you're a dog.
yeah, no, that most definitely helps. So, given that the dynamic before things are revealed with the true intentions and what comes out, sort of the dynamic with the James McAvoy character, he's always sort of testing the limits of politeness and how far he can push your character. So, did that make the working relationship with James different? Because I wonder, like instinctively, you want to like protect yourself. So I wonder if the dynamic, or was it fun sort of finding your way with
No,
that dynamic with
I think the opposite, because James sort of
mm,
invented a few things that weren't in the script that I think
ah
only a very sensitive person could invent. Like one of them is
mm,
whenever he did something to offend me, he would only apologize to my husband, and he would sort of like quietly isolate me from the conversation, which is so evil. But to have to have the read on that people do this to women and they sort of do these sort of quiet acts of terror that are hard to identify if you're in that position, um, I think is the work of a really sensitive person.
yeah. So last question, and I don't mean to sound like we're first. I asked you about taking care of yourself. I don't mean to sound like we're in a therapy session, but I'm
No,
wondering
no,
how
I'm
good
learning a lot.
how good are you in setting boundaries? Because I feel like they could have gotten out of that situation if they were better at setting boundaries. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder how good are you, and how difficult was it to not judge your character because you would have done differently.
Good question. I'm really good at setting boundaries. I find it easy and helpful and essential. And I think I kind of did judge her when I first read it because I was like, why is this woman looking to her husband all the time? It was like Louise looks to her husband, Louise looks to her husband. I was like, just say what you think. But I think it's really interesting and true to life that like she's quiet for a reason. She's quiet because they're in therapy and they've made certain agreements between themselves about like how her behavior makes him feel and how can she, not always, command a situation. Do I agree with those rules that they made? No, I do not, but I understand how in a relationship you experiment with different sort of modes of being together to make each other happy, and I think that's where we find them. And that made her make more sense to me when I realized that.
All right, so thank you for that, because the people in charge of this interview have set the boundary. My time is up. It's been a pleasure talking to you. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Okay, thank you.
Bye, nice to meet you.